Hello, friends, and welcome back to r/ProRevenge. In our first story, you'll understand what it means to be a bad neighbor in relation to actual good neighbor. Subscribe to our channel if you're new here, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss a new video every single day. Here we go. Take the money I give for bills and squander it? Hope you like the court system. The background. I lived with a group of people who I thought were my friends. They were two couples, and we all lived in the same house for almost 2 years until I recently moved out. There was David and Tina, and Brittany and AJ. I was the only single person there. There was debate on how much we should pay the bills, but we all decided to give the money to the person whose name was on the bill. David paid the mortgage, Tina paid the water and electric gas, and I paid the internet. It came to the point where I was paying close to 80% of the mortgage by myself, the entire water bill, about 75% of the gas and electric, and I was paying the internet bill all by myself. I was giving the money still to the person in charge of the bill, but came to find out about 10 days before I moved out that the mortgage was defaulted on and the house was in foreclosure. Also, the water, gas, and electric bills were in constant threat of being shut off, and that the only up-to-date bill was the internet. While they all saw me struggle to pay these off, they were mindlessly spending money during the day, which is when I sleep due to working third shift, so I never saw the mindless things they spent money on, nor did I ever see the mail since they grabbed it before I woke up. Brittany never paid anything, as she was having her check garnished due to unpaid student loans, but she always had expensive makeup. AJ never held a job for more than 2 weeks. David and Tina were always calling into work, knowing that I wouldn't allow them to go without a home due to our history. One day I woke up while they were all out and about doing something or other, so I went to go check the mail as I was expecting a package when I saw the bills in the mail. So I decided to investigate. I opened up the gas and electric bill, as they're by the same company, to see a total amount of almost $400 and in risk of being shut off. I was shocked and PO'd. I knew right then and there what was going on, and I vowed to screw them over as hard as I could. The revenge. I had just interviewed for a new job that paid almost double what I was making, and I knew that I interviewed well with them, so I told myself that if I got the job, I would give them a 30-day notice and move out. And as it was close to the end of the month and I'd already paid them, I would be moving out before the 1st of February. I got the call with the job offer the next day, which I happily accepted. I did the paperwork for the background check, and it all came back clean. The same day I accepted the offer, I typed out a 30-day notice and recorded myself with my phone in my breast pocket, handing it to them, explaining that I was moving out. I started my job and my hunt for an apartment close to my new job, which I found within a week of starting. I took almost the entirety of my checks, set them aside for rent, deposit, and basic things that I would need. I was asked several times to help with the next month's bills, to which I said no, as I was saving for my own place and that they had plenty of time to come up with the money between the 4 of them, because I was doing it all by myself pretty much on a meager pay rate of $11 an hour before my new job. There were lots of scowls, passive-aggressive behavior, and flat-out attempts to take or use my things or foods without permission. The day came when I finally went and got my U-Haul and had a few friends help me move. Free beer and free lunch are the best payment ever, as they shared it all with me. I was determined to get it all in one go, so I got the biggest one they had, and we got everything packed up. I took everything that was mine down to my pizza stone, which they loved, my expensive kitchen knives, which they would use and never clean, even my toilet paper that I'd bought 3 days prior because I needed it. A few rolls went missing very quick. After moving everything, I sat down on my couch, looked around, my cat in my lap, and breathed a sigh of relief. I happened to be good friends with my previous neighbors and asked them to keep an eye out for anything out of the ordinary. 4 days go by, and I come to find out that the gas, electric, and water have all been turned off, and they were asking to fill up some buckets to manually flush the toilets, bathe in, etc., etc. Now, both couples have dogs, which my cat hated as they were both hyperactive as hell, but I loved them. So I decided that those dogs were in a dangerous situation as they had no water, no heat in the middle of winter, and probably no food as I'd bought the last bag about 2 weeks ago. I hate to see an animal hungry, so I called the local humane society and left an anonymous tip about the dogs and how I was worried about them. The next day, my neighbor Todd texted me telling me that the dogs were removed from the home, that my previous housemates were being charged with neglect, and because of the lack of utilities, that these were not civil but criminal charges. This was enough for me to smile, but I wanted more. I knew that David was divorced and had a child. I also knew that he wasn't paying child support. I then contacted the local courts and made them aware of the flagrant non-support and that maybe they could help the agency looking for him. I provided the address that we lived at and that the homeowner was the one who was being looked for. From there, it came to light that he was almost $25,000 behind, which is a felony in the state where I live. He's now living with someone on their couch as Tina left him. The house has been foreclosed on, and he has nothing to his name while facing multiple criminal charges. Moral of the story: don't take advantage of a friend who knows all your dirty secrets. And our last story. Steal from my granddad, lose your benefit money. This is a family-style revenge, so get ready. My granddad had lived down the road from us since before I could remember. He'd always play with me and my sister when my mom had to work, and I thought of him as my second father. He kept a really expensive platinum necklace on as a keepsake from my grandmother, as he always told me stories about her and the wars he served. Some backstory now on my aunt's family. They were basically people who refused to work and were actually proud of scamming to the government to pay for their lifestyle through benefits they would falsely claim on mental disability and being obese as a justification to not work. At the time, getting as much as my mom would from her full-time job. My cousin had literally texted me at the time that he doesn't want to work and play on his Xbox. This, B, you are a grown 26-year-old man. Act it. They never visited my granddad, and for good reason. He was physically disgusted with the lot of them. So here's where my story starts. My granddad winds up in the hospital due to a heart attack. My mom, my sister, and me show up to care for him. After 3 days, and when the doctors explain that he hasn't got much time left and to say our goodbyes, EA, Evil Aunt, rocks up with her family. So much for being so ill you can't drive to get to a job. They ask how much time he has left. Us, wanting to be civil, told them and led them in to talk to him. He then passes away after another day, and we get together to decide how we want his funeral. Since my gran was buried in Cornwall, we decided to hold the ceremony there so that they can be buried together. Cornwall was about 300 miles away, but we thought it'd be worth it, and I still lay down flowers every year. EA and her family not only don't want to go down to Cornwall, they refuse to chip in even 50 pounds for anything. So they decide to stay up and watch his house. I know, red flags, but we were mourning, so we didn't think it through. The funeral was beautiful. Heartfelt eulogies that brought memory after beautiful memory. All was well, except they dug the wrong plot and they decided to tell us during maybe one of Granddad's ways of making us laugh up there, till we got home empty. Anything of value was gone, and the only thing left behind was some paintings from my grandma. She was a really good artist, and me liking art as well decided to keep them. We were PO'd. We went to EA's and they denied everything. We had nothing on her at the time, so we decided to file a police report and left it at that. Until 3 weeks later, when we came round to visit to see if everyone was coping. My mom had noticed some new expensive things. New TV, new PlayStation, the works, and she began to suspect something, as well as me and my sister, until EC, evil cousin, comes in, and he's wearing my granddad's platinum necklace. I asked him where he got it from, and he told me he'd bought it with some money he got from selling different crap, but I know that's my granddad's necklace. We get in the car, and all of us are seething. They are no longer family. We need revenge. The revenge time. Now, I mentioned before that they'd been falsifying their medical records so that they receive benefits from the government. Every time we would go over and sneakily take photos of everything they just bought, as well as my EC's stash of my uncle's collection of stolen goods. Forgot to mention he would steal big items off of vans and then sell them online for extra profit. We collected every text message of them bragging about their many fancy holidays and them refusing to want to work, compiled a case report, and anonymously sent it to the claimant investigators and let them do their jobs. A month later, I hear from one of my other cousins, nice girl, training to become a nurse, and I really admire that she didn't take the path of her family, that EA and uncle got their benefits taken off them and had criminal charges and had to pay restitution to the businesses they stole off and my EC got arrested for stealing. They're now financially effed. I think the last time I talked to them was them asking for money. Since I came from a well-off family, they thought I could convince my mom she doesn't want to speak to them, and I told them to F off. Good job. You did what you had to do, and your aunt is effed up financially. They got what they deserved. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.